Welcome to today's article. While I was gathering evidence, my husband Wang came to my door with his lover and beat me up. I refused to sign a divorce to avenge my dead child. He got tired of beating me. He took a shit at home and got into a car accident. Retribution came like a tornado. 20 minutes later, while the police, insurance, doctors, nurses and a bunch of journalists were clicking pictures, he was groaning on the ground with his bare bottom. At least, he's a married couple. The doctor didn't find his dick, I kicked it. That's what he needs to keep the flame alive. As for his lover, Zhu Jingjing, except for a dirty dress, there were no other wounds. When my husband beat me, he praised her for her dancing body's toughness, and that she could do any dance. Now her body is twisted like a twist, she should be fine. When I got to the hospital, the doctor asked me to pay $100,000 first. I took out my bank card and swiped it. I only have $10. Doctor, sew him up first. He knows a famous doctor. He can save him without money. What famous doctor? Where is he? Buddha of the Great Thunderbolt Temple? The doctor said let's try harder. That's fine, I'm asking again. If you sign up to donate your body now, can you deduct the medical expenses? No, the doctor is looking at the film. But his left leg is shattered. There's not much hope of saving it. If you can't afford to saw it off, the nurse next to him can't bear it. Let's put aside the grudge. We can earn money again if we lose it. Well, we don't really have no money. I patiently explained. The main thing is that he transferred all the money to his lover. Wake her up and ask for the bank card code. The nurse looked at her lover next to her. He has a fractured spine. He might not be able to get up for the rest of his life. I put my hands together. When the car accident report came out, other people's mosaics were on their faces. My husband's mosaic was on his arse. The doctor operated on him for 5 hours. They finally brought him back from the brink of death. When he woke up, I stopped the anesthetic. Bear with me, it's not easy to make money. We can save a little bit. I'm sure he agrees with that. After all, that's what he said to me in the first place. In the end, he was screaming. He told me everything about the money he transferred. He couldn't move his body and pouted, telling me to ask his lover for money. Hey, just sawing a leg? Why do you have to be so sentimental? What's wrong with suffering for love? When I submitted information to the court, I froze my lover's bank card. When I was ready to get the money, Wang died. Early that morning, he was transferred to the general ward. He was conscious, and his eyes were still moving. The driver of the car came to the ward and knelt down. He cried and asked me if I could issue a letter of understanding for his family. I said yes. I asked for a few, but the bed shook. My husband, Wang, too, screamed hoarsely at the top of his voice. He was so angry with me that he slumped over. The doctor rushed in. They're rushing me and the driver out. Wait, I will stop the doctor. I took out my mobile phone again. I'm sending a video. A record of a life well lived. Outside the ward, the driver was on his knees, crying bitterly, I'm a sinner, I will pay. But I only have 2 million, oh. I rushed to help quickly get up. Buddha, he's a hobo, he's not worth 2 million. I don't mean to be sarcastic, but in order to get me out of the house, not only did he transfer his assets, he changed the name of the company to his mistress, Zhu Jingjing. He called himself a hobo. He didn't give me a cent. He even asked me to transfer my remaining salary to him. The amount of car accident compensation is linked to the person's income. Is it the same price for killing a chairman and a hobo? I signed a donation agreement in advance. When Wang died, the doctor bowed to him. Then, his corneas and heart, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys were removed. Originally, his body could still be put in formalin. He could have been a teacher. But the damage from the car accident was too severe. I had to haul it to the crematorium and send it to the incinerator as medical waste. Wang's hair, fat and grease swirled and jumped in the fire. His eyes are closed. He couldn't see the money. I was too drunk to count the money. I don't stop counting the snowy summer nights. It's all his legacy. I'm crushing all the bad things I've done. I'm so happy I could jump for joy and turn 360 degrees. and land on one leg, and splits over the driver's head. When I put a little red flower, the funeral parlor lady woke me up. She said there were 5,000, 6,000 and 7,000 urns waiting for the cremation. I ordered a KFC delivery. Take out the craft paper bag with KFC's grandpa on it, and shake it. Put it here. The lady at the funeral parlor rolled her eyes. What's the problem? We have a plastic urn here. It's only $200 after discount. Is that enough for killing your son? The funeral parlor lady paused, and said, I will break up the ashes for you. Take Wang Tu's ashes. Open the backpack. Put it in the bag, with the donation papers. It's the first time I've ever felt like getting married is as good as pulling out the tubes, signing the papers, and eating all the inheritance. I just left the funeral parlor. I got a call from the hospital. Lover woke up. Zhu Jingjing's family wasn't well off, but she loved to dance. Her parents borrowed money to pay for her dancing. But you don't just have to love dancing, you have to be talented. If you don't excel at it, you graduate, you're out of a job. So he hooked up with Wang Tu. He had the money and the company. And love. And paraplegia. I showed him the information. All your real estate has been seized. The $8,620,000 that Wang Tu transferred to you. It's been transferred back to my account. I didn't mean anything by it. I just wanted to show you off. I don't believe you. I'm going to send Wang Tu over here. I will put Wang Tu's ashes next to Zhu Jingjing's pillow. It weighs 3 pounds with the paper bag. Hell never leave you again. Hiss a true bedside manner. In the hospital room, Zhu Jingjing screamed. Hey, let's go, where are we? The real Buddha is still on his way. Please help me. Don't take all the money. I need an operation. And I want to dance? Zhu Jingjing cried as she spoke. I smiled at her with a crooked smile. If my baby hadn't been aborted by you guys, he would have had a chance to dance too. I'm sorry, but I don't want to stay in bed for the rest of my life. Please help me. I will work for you for the rest of my life. Zhu Jingjing is paraplegic. Only her head can move. She wept, praying for Simone's nose to flow into her mouth, but there's nothing she can do. Just a few days ago, she was a shining white swan on stage. Don't be sad, things aren't hopeless. I comforted her. Zhu Jingjing's eyes lit up. She looked at me with great anticipation. I laughed. I informed your parents, including the fact that you're Wang Tu's lover. They'll be here soon. Don't worry, although I won't save you. But they will save you even if they cut their waist. Zhu Jingjing's eyes widened. She stared at me with indignation. Suddenly she screamed again. Yanqi, you're a murderer, with a heart of gold. You'll die a horrible death. Drink up, back off. Only her head could move, but she could only spit at me. But she doesn't have enough range. Yanqi, I'm begging you. Zhu Jingjing went crazy. After spitting, she cried. Don't let my parents see me like this. I'm begging you. You can kill me? Don't let my parents come over. I heard footsteps in the corridor. Zhu Jingjing was too scared to make a sound. The door opened, and it was her parents. Oh, I remember. I called Wang Tu's family. It was Wang Tu's mother. And a young woman, Fang Yu. She was holding a 6-month-old baby in her arms. I'm pointing at the baby. I'd like to introduce you. This is Wang Tu's baby. Zhu Jingjing looked at the baby. Suddenly she burst into tears. Damn Wang Tu. You're a fucking animal. You lied to me, I thought I was your lover. I didn't realize I'm Junior. The beast has killed me. Fang Yu gave me a blank look, holding the baby with one hand. With her other hand, she slapped Zhu Jingjing across the face. Why are you crying? Where did you hide Wang Tu's money? Zhu Jingjing snorted coldly. She probably hated it, and shouted get lost in retaliation. I won't tell you even if I die. Take your kids and go pick up rubbish, shameless lover. Fang Yu didn't say anything after she was spat on. Wang Tu's mother stepped forward and slapped Zhu Jingjing 10 times in the face. She slapped Zhu Jingjing 10 times in the face. Zhu Jingjing's nose bled. Her cheeks were red. She was crying. At his place, Zhu Jingjing looked at me. I suddenly want to try. I said to Wang Tu's mother, I just asked him. Wang Tu only transferred 100,000 to him. I will share 50,000 with you when I get it back. Zhu Jingjing eyes glared. You bitch. Zhu Jingjing just wanted to scold. Wang Tu's mother ripped her mouth shut. She pulled her lips to the back of her ear. It hurt me to watch. It's so cruel. How could my son only have 100,000? Wang Tu's mother started to torture him. His company earns millions a year. And a big villa, tell me. I'm getting cold feet. Wang Tu kept telling me the company was losing money. So everyone knows everything. I was the only one who didn't know. Feng Yu, who was holding the baby, tried to persuade her. You'd better tell us. Wang Tu and Yunqi have a marriage certificate. I have a child with Wang Tu. You won't get it either way. Poor Zhu Jingjing, she can't move. She's at the mercy of others. She's crying out in pain. Tears and nosebleeds all over her face. The door is open again. This time it's Zhu Jingjing's parents. Seeing their child lying on the bed being abused. Over 50 years of age, the couple immediately lost their minds. Let her go, you old hag. Zhu's mother pushed Wang Tu's mother away. Father Zhu was furious. You've done this to my daughter. I will sue you. Feng Yu hurriedly put the baby on the next bed. She rolled up her sleeves and shouted at Father Zhu. Your daughter was a lover to my baby's father. How dare you sue? She deserves to be paralyzed. If she can't teach her child well in the first half of her life, the rest of her life shall wear nappies for 50 years. Don't die before him. That's a terrible line. But I can't wait to jump up and down and applaud. Father Zhu went up and slapped her. He knocked Feng Yu to the ground. How dare you, I will fight you. Wang Tu's mother returned the favor. But miraculously, she didn't hit Father Zhu. Instead, she turned around and strangled Zhu Jingjing. I will strangle your daughter. Zhu Jingjing's eyes rolled up. Her tongue came out. Zhu's mother grabbed Wang Tu's mother and held her hand. The two of them pushed together. They dragged paraplegic Zhu Jingjing from the hospital bed to the floor. Zhu's father made another move. Feng Yu hurriedly got up and joined the fight. The four of them fought in the ward. The baby was crying. Zhu Jingjing was twisted like a scroll on the floor. She was crying too. The four of them were beating and cursing at the same time. Cursing and screaming in pain. This scene, I do not contribute a film ticket. I'm sorry for the actors and actresses in the film. The most outrageous one is Wang Tu's mother. I don't know if it's on purpose. During the fights and pushing exercises, she always stepped on Zhu Jingjing's hands and arms. Zhu Jingjing, who is paraplegic, can't feel any pain. But it's not very damaging, it's very insulting. That pretty face that can seduce men from their homes. Crying like a rainbow. As miserable as a rotten tomato. I believe that being Wang Tu's lover. She really regrets it. It's a man's strength, isn't it? Wang Tu's mother was beaten to a pulp. Her head was covered with bandages. She is lying in the bed next to Zhu Jingjing. The two of them lay shoulder to shoulder, both panting. They didn't say a word. Zhu Jingjing's parents were taken away by the police. Feng Yu had to take care of the child and escaped. When she found me again, he walked with a limp. Have you recovered Wang Tu's money? Yes, I did. Then why did you lie? You got us beaten up. Feng Yu's left eye is swollen to a slit. It looks like a child's bum has grown on his face. It's all black and blue. I laughed. I was joking. Why did you hit him? Who are you to hit him? I'm Wang Tu's wife. Who are you? What does Wang Tu's inheritance have to do with you? I asked a series of questions. Feng Yu was at a loss for words. That's right. She claimed the baby in her arms was Wang Tu's. But she and Wang Tu? There's no inheritance relationship between him and Wang Tu. Feng Yu is the product of Wang Tu's mother's passionate years running off with a wild man. Because Wang Tu's mother couldn't take the hardship. She ran away again when she was 5. She remarried and gave birth to Wang Tu. It was more than 10 years later. They got back in touch. They're barely my ex-great-aunts. But the baby I'm carrying is really Wang Tu's. Feng Yu smiles proudly. Both he and my mother have the right to inherit. That's a tricky question. Feng Yu has inherited her mother's tradition. At a young age, she fell in with a handsome barber. When she got pregnant, they were thinking about getting married. But then, the barber disappeared with his 2 pairs of scissors. At that time, Feng Yu's tummy got big. Regular doctors didn't perform induced abortions on large, healthy babies. She cried and begged Wang Tu's mother for a loan to pay for an abortion, to go to a private hospital to induce labor. Wang Tu's mother changed her mind. She persuaded her to have the baby. She asked him to put the baby in Wang Tu's name. That way, she could save the baby without delaying Feng Yu's marriage to another family, and get the child a city passport. 3 birds with 1 stone. It's 5 in 1. Wang Tu's mother not only saves money on the abortion, she can also prevent me from dividing up Wang Tu's fortune. If I make a mistake one day, she'll ask me for another sum of money. The 2 mushroom clouds exploding in Japan didn't even make a dent in the money. Think about it. Wang Tu's mother never loved her children. She gave birth to 2 tools. At the time, I was in the throes of a miscarriage. Wang Tu asked me to adopt the child. I refused. But he went to the hospital when Feng Yu was in labor. He went to the hospital to get a birth certificate. The father's name is Wang Tu. You don't need a marriage certificate for a child's birth certificate. Just the parents' IDs. If you want to adopt and put it in your family register, then you'll have to go through me. Wang Tu is making a lot of noise. He wants to put the child in his name. I've been trying to persuade him, but he won't let me. When I got angry, then I said, from now on, take the baby and go out with your lover, and teach her how to be a stepmother. Let's see if she'll still serve you milk. Wang Tu was stunned. He took out his mobile phone and called his mother. Yunqi said, this child is coming into our house. She'll strangle me right away. I've got a meeting, bye. I've been arguing with him for half a year. It took him 10 seconds to say no, just because I mentioned his lover. I really didn't think he'd ever get the benefits of his lover. From that moment on, I got discouraged. I began to collect evidence against Wang Tu's laws and morals. Wang Tu tried to force me to divorce several times, until he couldn't stand it anymore. He brought his lover to my door. After beating me up, I was knocked over by a truck while going to the toilet. This is not Wang Tu's child. We didn't go through the legal adoption process. I started to break up with Feng Yu. Feng Yu was all smiles. Wang Tu is dead. There's no DNA to prove the child is his. Anyway, on the birth certificate, Wang Tu's name is on the birth certificate. If you have any grievances, tell them to the judge. Ha 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 ha. Me too. I won't give it to you. Sue me if you dare. She really sued me. She was in court. She told me about how she fell in love with Wang Tu, and how she was tricked into having a baby, and then abandoned. I tried my best to defend myself. I told her all about her and her mother. I asked them to do a DNA comparison. Of course, they couldn't do it. So I lost the first trial. Feng Yu appealed. I lost again in the second trial. But I just wouldn't pay. Zhu Jingjing's parents are suing me in the second trial. It was the moment of truth. I immediately gave the money to Wang Tu's mother and Feng Yu. Yes, Zu's parents sued me too. They thought their daughter had been cheated by Wang Tu. They were also deceived when they went to my house that day. They were also tricked into hitting me. She was killed in the end. So they want some medical compensation. I lost the first trial. I have to bear 5% of the medical expenses. It should be the judge's sympathy price for Jingjing, Zhu. It doesn't matter, I can appeal, out of the goodness of my heart. I'd like to remind you, my husband's company is still in Jingjing's name. Do you want to transfer it to me first? Zu's mother spat at me. That's a joint venture between your husband and my daughter. It's their business. What the hell does it have to do with you? Let's talk about what's going on in the group. That's about Jane Zhu being cheated. If you talk about things outside the group, that's because she's independent. Then don't blame me for being rude. I know. The second trial will probably give some money to Young Hee. And it won't be much. But I won't. The day before the trial, I gave the money to Wang Tu's mother and Feng Yu. Then I complained in court. I'm not alone in Wang Tu's inheritance. And Wang Tu's mother and Wang Tu's illegitimate son, I gave them all the money. You're suing me alone. I'm the only one who has to pay. That's not right. The second trial rejected Z's parents' claim. Z's parents are walking in front of the court, cursing. We won't let you go. So 2 months later, Wang Tu's mother and Feng Yu received a summons from Z's parents, demanding compensation from the heirs. On the same day, Feng Yu called to scold them. You two didn't think of me when you were up to something. Outside. You have to smear me with the slightest bit of chicken shit. It's none of my business if he finds a lover. Why should I pay for it? You can't keep an eye on your husband. You should pay for it, I said in her once smiling voice. Anyway, on the child's birth certificate. Wang Tu's name is on the birth certificate. If you have any grievances, tell them to the judge. Ha 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 ha. While the lawsuit against Z's parents was in progress, I visited a private detective agency to help me find someone. The one who abandoned Feng Yu and the child together. Barber. I sent him a text message. He said that even though Feng was carrying $1 million in his pocket, she cries at home every day. After all, a child can't live without a father. The next day, Feng Yu called to scold me again. If you're lonely and can't sleep, you can go out and find a man. You had to throw explosives into my toilet. My body, so easily cleaned, was covered in shit again. I dislike you, right? I can't sleep when I think you're still single. Besides, the baby's father is dead. You have to get him a new one. When are you getting married? I will give you a gift. How dare you curse me for getting married? How can there be such a vicious woman in this world? Feng Yu hung up the phone in a rage. It seems she's come to her senses. She has money and a baby. I eat, drink and go to the toilet every day. Why do you need a man to gamble with your colon and duodenum? I will do it for her. Just when I was happy. The doorbell rang. A handsome man stood in the doorway. His eyes were bright, smiling like a spring breeze, with a big bag in his hand. Hello, my name is Weekend. I'm a lawyer. I smile back. That's a nice name. I thought he was here to sell himself. After all, I've been in a lot of trouble with the law. But then he came into my house. He sat down on the couch and frantically pulled out money. Cute little piles of money on the coffee table. This is me pointing out the money and asking him. Weekend politely pushed the mountain of money in front of me. It's all for you. Give it to me. I'm subconsciously wary. You don't get paid for what you don't get. It's for you. He pointed to his eyes. My cornea is your husband's. I was shocked, he continued. You, as a family member? You donated your husband's body after he passed away, so that I could see again. I know it hurts to lose your husband. No, I'm not. A pair of corneas is a gift that can't be measured in money. But it's all from me. $1 million. It's a bit low. But if you need me in the future, I will do my best. I stared at the 1 million on the table. My eyes were glazed over. There were tears at the corners of my mouth. When I touched it, it turned out to be my saliva that couldn't resist the temptation. In fact, I don't need money now. I pushed the money back again. It's heavy, $1 million. Then what do you need? If I have it, I will give it to you. Weekend's face was straight, sitting upright on the sofa, looked at me with sincerity. And I answered, word for word. I want you to help me in a lawsuit. Weekend laughed heartily. After laughing, he said solemnly to me, don't worry. Your case is my case. Not to mention the defendant. You only need to cough. Even the cockroach in the defendant's house. I will pick it out and sentence it. You don't have to. After listening to my statement, he sympathized with me. He vowed to help me win the case against Feng Yu and Zhu Jingjing. Before leaving, he insisted on leaving me 1 million yuan. And he didn't charge me for the lawyer's fee. Even if I didn't need money. Who would refuse $1 million falling from the sky? I was so excited that I threw it into the sky. And let the money fall all over me. Layers and layers of money surrounded me. I forgot to sleep in the world of money. Happiness is realized. The sadness is destroyed. And after the joys are gone, I still packed up my $1 million and donated it to the Good Children's Center. After all, it's the cornea donated by Wang too. I won't touch that kind of inheritance. Feng Yu refused the barber's proposal. In order to get rid of this piece of shit, she even had the barber beaten up. That's good. The barber who came back is not the one I want. The barber after the beating is the one I'm looking for. I invited the barber home. I gave him $20,000 to soothe his broken heart. Then I sued Feng Yu for fraudulent inheritance and fraudulent compensation. Lying in court. Feng Yu was in tears in court. I've been wronged, Judge. You have to judge me. This Yun is bullying our orphaned mother and father. The judge hit the hammer and got to the point. I swear this child is Wang Tu's. The statements and information from the last trial. All of it is true. Feng Yu is still adamant about it. That's the effect we wanted. My lawyer smiled and snapped his fingers. Call the witness? Feng Yu's jaw dropped when she saw the witness. I thought Feng Yu was already a good actress. I didn't realize the barber was the Oscar winner. In the courtroom, he described his love for Feng Yu in vivid detail. The classic love story of how he and Feng Yu were defeated by reality. Judge. Feng Yu interrupts. He's lying. If you have the guts, let's get a paternity test. Refuse. It'll be hard for me and Feng Yu to get a paternity test. And the court won't recognize a private paternity test. That's why the barber can't donate blood. The barber grunted and tossed his bangs. Hiss on his home turf. From the date on the birth certificate. We can work backwards from the date on the birth certificate to when the baby was conceived. She clocked in every day for half a month. She was with me every night. The girls in the flat can all testify to that. Including the film ticket stubs and the posters they took together. They were 1,000 kilometers away from Wangtus City. There was no time to conceive each other's children. Even if it wasn't mine. It couldn't be Wangtus either. Feng Yu took a breath of cold air. My lawyer also presented the evidence it gathered. Our late husband was busy with his work during that time. This was recorded on the company's security cameras. Wang Tu's car also has a full record of his travels. He didn't even leave the city. And the rooming records with her lover, Zhu Jingjing, and so on. This is all the information I've collected. I was going to use it against Zhu Jingjing. I didn't think it would come in handy for Feng Yu. My lawyer continued, combining the records from both sides. We can prove that. Defendants Feng Yu and Wang Tu did not see each other during the time of the child's conception. So the child wasn't Wang Tu's at all. The fraudulent claiming of the inheritance totaled 2.25 million yuan. And lying in court. I laugh at Feng Yu's audacity. Feng Yu froze in place. Her lips trembled. Suddenly she roared. Yunqi. You caused me harm. That's right. I will fuck her up. I have all the records of Wang Tu's travels. I could've got them in the last lawsuit. But I don't have them. For one thing, the evidence isn't conclusive. It only proves Wang Tu never left the province. It doesn't prove Feng Yu never came. Secondly, she received $2.25 million. She's committing fraud. She's unforgiving. I'm unforgiving. According to the law, fraud exceeds 2 million. He'll be sentenced to more than 10 years in prison. When I left the courtroom, I smiled and said to Feng Yu, this is the year of the rabbit. I will see you in the next year of the rabbit. I will kill you. Feng Yu was held down by the bailiff. She looked at me with fierce eyes. Feng Yu can still appeal. But it won't change much. Walking out of the courtroom. I'm in a good mood. I'm taking Weekend out for hot pot. Weekend took out an envelope. And waved it in front of me. The next court case. You're the defendant. I patted Weekend on the shoulder. With you here, I'm not afraid. Tell me what I'm going to do. Suck it, suck it, suck it. What are you going to do? Weekend raised his hand. I will do the same. 3 days later, Zhu Jingjing claimed compensation from me lawsuit began to court. Zhu's parents, in order to get more sympathy, they brought paraplegic Xiao to the courtroom. She told them how she was cheated by Wang Tu. Weekend and I sat across from each other. We quietly watched the families' performance. From time to time, we even made a private comment about how good they were. The dancers' expression management skills are professional. She's much better than Feng Yu. The judge looks at us defendants. Do you have anything to add? No, no, no. No, I have nothing. Weekend and I shook our heads like rattlesnakes. In the audience, suddenly someone jumped up. Why aren't there any? The three of them were talking rubbish. That little witch must have drugged my son. She should be punished for her bad deeds. She should be bumped from a centipede to a popsicle. You can lie down for the rest of your life. Silence. The judge hit the hammer. Two bailiffs hold Wang Tu's mother down. She is still furious and not convinced. The judge stood up and read out the judgment. The judge demanded 6% of the cost of the treatment, until Wang Tu's inheritance is exhausted. Execute it within 30 days. Zhu Jingjing's paraplegic condition. Follow-up treatment is a lifelong process. 6% is not bad. I'm against it. Wang Tu's mother jumped out again. She took the initiative to sleep with my son. She took my son to beat up his wife. She aborted my grandson. She cheated my son out of his money. Such a shameless person should rot in bed. Wang Tu's voice is getting fainter and fainter. It's getting fainter and fainter. Because she was disrupting the court. Two bailiffs grabbed him from side to side. Dragging his feet on the ground, they took him out. She was so angry. And she said a lot of things in my favor. It's not that she has a conscience. She's the other heir to the estate. The lawsuit is in the afternoon. We lose. He's not going to win either. But I wouldn't give it to him. By the 30th day, I was fine. Zhu Jingjing was carried away by the tax office. Wang Tu. The company had already been warned for tax evasion. I paid the fine for him the first time and got him out. Then he transferred the company's ownership to Yongyi. On the one hand, he didn't want to pay me. On the other hand, it's to transfer the risk. My lawyers have collected over $4 million a year in tax evasion alone. Zhu Jingjing only saw more cash under her name, more villas, more companies. She was so happy. Even if she's a little smart. If it wasn't for my life-threatening situation, I wouldn't have been able to catch Wang Tu. All I had to do was send the evidence to the tax office. Zhu Jingjing will be in debt for 10 million, and sentenced to over 3 years in prison. So's mother came to the door to rant and rave. You're a vicious woman. You're so devious. You hired that driver. I want to report you to the police. I'm going to investigate you. I don't care. That's right, I'm going to show my hand. I hired the driver. Zhu's mother was stunned. She got excited. She even took out her mobile phone to record. Tell me, if you're so capable, tell us how you did it. You can do it, but you can't talk about it? Why don't you dare to tell? I was forced to lose everything by your daughter and her lover. I lost my child. I've been praying to God every day that they'll both get what's coming to them. If you must. I hired the driver. I paid him 3 incense sticks in front of the Buddha. You want to sue me? The ashes are still there. So's mother hit me with her mobile phone in anger. I took the incense burner and threw it over his head. Sprayed him all over the ashes. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the evidence for you to pack. You're welcome. Mother Zhu wiped the ashes on her face. Threatened me too. Do you believe that when my daughter comes out, I will move her to your home to retire? Our whole family will stay here. If you want to have a clean house, unless you sell the villa and pay my daughter's fine. Do you believe me? I still have evidence of Jingjing and Wangtus' dirty deeds. I can send your whole family to jail. Did Jingjing ask for your ids? Do you know how many companies Wang Tu has opened with your family's ids? Zhu's mother was silent. Her face is gray. His fingers are trembling. I lied to her. I've exhausted my evidence. But parents are old. What kid hasn't taken their parents' ID card? To run a business for their parents. To buy an insurance policy. Zhu Jingjing's family is quite happy. She's made a lot of money with Wang Tu. She has to give something back to her parents. When I tracked his bank card, he made a small transfer every month. I didn't bother. But with his family staying in this city for so long and hiring a lawyer, where did he get the money? But if you take money, you have to lose it. Don't be afraid. As long as you sign an agreement with me, you don't ask me for the rest of the medical bills, I will pretend I don't know anything. Z's mother is breathing hard and clenching her fists. It seems like she's going to cut me to death the next second. But she doesn't dare hurt me. If she goes to jail, who will take care of his daughter, Zhu Jingjing? A young girl. Does her father have to bathe her every day? After a short period of resentment, Z's mother finally gave up. She sat on the floor and bawled her eyes out. I took out the agreement that my lawyer had prepared. Z's mother signed her name and fingerprints. The old mother, who had always been domineering and tough, suddenly became much older. As I watched her leave, I held the contract. I opened the drawer. Inside the drawer was my case. Miscarriages, severe depression, lifelong infertility. They stood out. I pretended not to see it. I dropped the contract and closed the drawer. Then I celebrated with a hot pot dinner with my lawyer. That's good. My medical bills were saved. Lying on the couch, I suddenly remembered a question. How can a paraplegic like Zhu Jingjing pedal a sewing machine in prison? She can apply for release from prison. Weekend was busy in the kitchen. He brought out a few hot pot dishes with meat and vegetables. I didn't bully him. We're going out for hot pot. He had to cook it himself. In Zhu Jingjing's case, it doesn't matter if he goes to jail or not. It's just that mom and dad have to serve him for the rest of his life. I sat down in front of the hot pot. I thought of another problem. What if Jingjing can't pay the fine? Shall become a scapegoat. He won't be able to get many expensive imported medicines. I cooked a piece of tripe for weekend. Put it in his bowl. You're so knowledgeable. Unlike me, I don't dare to be. Weekend smiled. The look in his eyes seems to see through everything. Remember to clean up your computer's browsing history. Okay. I've already found out what happened to Zhu Jingjing. You said before, as long as I cough, even a cockroach can be sentenced to death. Is that still true? Weekend was stunned. He looked at me with his tripe in his mouth. After eating it quickly, he asked, of course. I'm your 40-meter sword. Wherever you want to cut. I laughed. That day, Wang Tu and Zhu Jingjing made a scene in my house. I was so angry that I bled from my lower body. As the child's real father, he drove off with his lover at the critical moment. I had to save myself. When I was going downstairs, I lost my footing and rolled down the stairs. Wang Tu's mother came to the hospital to comfort me for the loss of my child. It was just an accident. But I could feel it clearly. The stairs were really slippery. It was as if someone had spilled oil on them. If I hadn't called 120 before going downstairs, I would have died on the floor bleeding to death. The first thing I did when I came to my senses was to call the police. The police came to the house to check. The report was that the stairs were dry, and there was nothing there. I was discharged immediately. I was going to go home and check it out for myself. Even if the oil was wiped off, I'm going to crack the wooden floor. I will find a clue in the cracks. Wang Tu's mother was prepared for this. Called 3 strong relatives at home to bring me back home by force. She said she was taking care of my health. But she took away my mobile phone. She cut off all contact with the outside world. Even the door to my room was locked. I had to stay in bed for half a month. Then when she let her guard down to bring food to my room, I knocked her out on the floor. I ran out. Then I went back to the villa. There's no evidence left. The wooden floor of the staircase is covered with new marble. There were only harassing text messages from Zhu Jingjing every day. Her sarcasm are constantly on my wounds. And Wang Tu's mother at the time cried all over the place that I didn't know what was good for me. She worked so hard to take care of my health. Said I hit her. I thought she liked to cry. I will make her spend the rest of her life in tears. Find me some male actors who look educated. We can start posing as if they know what they're doing. As if to say I can do it. I thought about it. I told him to be bald. Weekend immediately withdrew his style. He felt his thick hair. Waiting. Lawyers are quick. Less than a week. I heard that Wang Tu's mother was already looking at people with her nose in her hometown, because some leaders came to him and said they wanted to set up a factory. They want to take over her house and land. His house is going to be demolished. Shall be compensated 8 million. Wang Tu's mother refused. She wanted 12 million. The leaders negotiated with her. The deal was settled for 10 million. The contract was signed. It says the house must be demolished in 6 months. The old man never dreamt of winning the lottery for 10 million. He's going to die of joy. Z's father came to the house for medical bills. She's been hitting people in the face with multiples of cash. She made an old couple kneel on the ground to collect money. She even hired a high-priced nanny to take care of her. On average, she'd have to change them once every half a month. She wears gold and furs. The rich woman's grandeur became the talk of the town. She was so proud of herself, she was like that for half a year. Wang Tu's legacy was at the bottom of the list. The demolition team waited and waited. Until one morning, I woke up. The word demolition was painted on the house. She woke up in a dream. She had been tricked. She fell to the ground and had a stroke. When she was young, Wang Tu's mother was very bossy. She fought with a kitchen knife. All the dogs in the village were afraid of her. They all had to walk around her. Wang Tu's father couldn't stand it anymore. He drank medicine and died. Now she has a stroke and is paralyzed. She's got a bad mouth, eyes and limbs, and no money. And no one to serve him. She moves around on a stick every day. Her hands are like chicken claws. When someone passes by her house, she cries a lot. As time went by, no one wanted to pass by her door. After all, everyone was busy. They don't have time to watch crying every day. Within half a year, she was as haggard as a skeleton in the demon world. This was the last time I heard from her. And the last time I looked back. A year after Wang Tu's death. Everything about him has been settled. We can take my file. He helped me draft all kinds of business contracts. I opened a new company. And a lot of legal issues depended on him. So this is a dismissal of Feng Yu's case. Keep this evidence. Maybe we'll need it later. I took the file and smiled lightly. I guess I won't need it anymore. After Feng Yu was detained, she appealed for time and cried to see me. I ignored her at first until she hit her head against the wall. Almost disfigured his face. I knew she wanted me to drop the case. I wanted to see what she had to say to convince me. What about the baby? What about my baby? His father's a bastard. He took the money you gave him and ran away. He doesn't give a shit about his kid. If I go to jail, my child will be an orphan. His grandmother won't raise him. Feng Yu knelt in front of me. She cried her heart out. Yes, the barber who said he'd marry Feng Yu has run away again. Wang Tu's mother is spending her son's inheritance. The child who should have called her grandmother. She sent him to an orphanage. The world is going to hell in a handbasket. But the child is innocent. I'm glad you didn't give up your child, even though you're a bastard. I'm dropping the case. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Feng Yu doesn't have much education. She doesn't know how to say thank you. She just kept kowtowing to me and saying thank you. When I thought that she would soon be reunited with her child, I felt like a knife in my heart. I ran away. Soon after, I received her refund. There was only 1.6 million left. Feng Yu bought a 20-year insurance policy for his child. She said she was afraid the child would be bullied if she died. So as soon as she got the money, she bought insurance for her child. The mother's love she didn't receive as a child. She's now doubling it for her own child. She said she'd pay me in installments. When we went to the orphanage to get the baby back, the baby didn't know anyone. He accidentally called me, Mummy. I admit my eyes were red. When will you say yes to my proposal? Have a nice hot pot dinner. Weekend started talking about proposing to me again. You know how I am? You're an unmarried young man. Why are you proposing to me? You should find a better girl. She hasn't been hurt before. She's longing for love. She's looking forward to marriage. Just like me when I was young. Marry her. And have another child. It's because I know your situation. That's why I think you're perfect for me. Hiss still talking tough. I'm willing to accept dink. I hate kids. Yunki, honey. Baby. You're the best woman in the world for me. Who says I want to be a dink? I just met a bad guy. Passive aggressive. It's not that I don't love children. I know there's a technology out there, as long as the eggs are healthy. Everything else is negotiable. Weekend took my hand. You're so full of shit. People change. How long can I be a dink? It's up to you. I was a little touched. But I took my hand back and gave him the food. I don't want to fall in love. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have children. I just want to be thin, beautiful and rich. You're great, but you missed me in my most innocent years. Let's raise our glasses. Thank you to my late husband. For leaving his legacy to me. He gave his corneas to the weekend. He gave his wife back to a handsome man. He gave his hurt to his lover. He gave his loneliness to his mother. He gave his heart, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys to society. He gave himself the gift of a broken son. Hiss a very good man.